So the big news is ceasefire begins between Israel, Hamas. That's the big near banner headline on the front page of the Washington Post today. Bilateral deal 11 days into fight. Death toll, they love their colons, 232 in Gaza, 12 in Israel. Kind of a lopsided score. And it's always this way, and you can predict this before it even begins. And really the secret to this is that the people of Hamas, a radical Islamic terrorist organization, should stop firing rockets at innocent civilians in Israel and trying to murder their children. And then you see Israel will just mind their own business, and they won't have to respond by coming back at you with smart bombs. These guys, they send stupid bombs. It's what they know. And then the Israelis, they'll put one right in your bread box if that's in it. And they'll tell the Associated Press to get out of the building first. And the Associated Press will be like, we didn't know there was Hamas in here until the article from several years ago in The Atlantic reveals that they knew all about it and talked about Hamas firing rockets from right outside their windows and coming back inside the building. And so the Associated Press lied about it and embarrassed themselves and the media once again because, you really can't believe these people. So the death toll, 232 in Gaza. This is the way Hamas likes it because they're making martyrs, you see. And they're making the next generation eager to get in line to become suicide bombers like they do in Iran. In Iran, which is being funded still to this day by Obama's largesse, funding the world's number one state sponsor of terror with those tens of billions of dollars, perhaps more than $100 billion, which they use to fund, Hezbollah in, that's the Party of Allah in Lebanon. They were shooting at Israel the other day, too. And Hamas, both radical Islamic terror groups, Hamas in the Gaza. And, of course, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They often must feel left out, I think. They've got a perfectly good name, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad and all of that. It really is like Monty Python. We're with the People's Front of Judea. We're with the Liberation People's Front of Judea. And that region of the world really needs to sort of join us here in the 21st century. Maybe they should try stepping into the 20th century first, get their feet wet, and then think long and hard about joining us here in the 21st century. Just a thought. The old Sting song, I hope the Russians love their children too. I wish that Hamas loved their children too, but they obviously don't. They like to get everybody killed. Instead of just saying, I don't know, maybe we can live with the Jews next door and, maybe go to the beach or something. Go to the beach. I went to Google Earth. You ever use Google Earth? It's one of my favorite toys on my, iPad, on my iPad. It's a miracle of technology. It's almost impossible to believe the 3D thing and zooming in on mailboxes and reading addresses. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But I was looking at the Gaza, and they have they're right there on the Mediterranean Sea, and they're down in the southwest corner of Israel, and it is a very densely populated area, and they turn it to expletive deleted. Apparently by design. They have beaches there, lovely beaches, and I was zooming in on the beaches on Google Earth, and there's nothing on the beaches except like dead horse heads and things like that. There are no umbrellas and lawn chairs and Slurpee shops and smoothies and bars, no bars, of course, and all that. And then you go up the beach a little bit into Israel, and you see everything I just described there. You got umbrellas and beach chairs and, cabanas and restaurants and people frolicking and splashing in the water and all that stuff. There are cultural differences between the two peoples. That's not people plural. That's, it sort of is. So between the two peoples. And Google Earth kind of lays out some of the differences between the two entities. But if join us here in the 21st century, put a bikini on your daughter, send her to the beach, let her have some fun, get a smoothie, stay after for a margarita, have a good time. Why don't you? But no. So the ceasefire, I was talking about it yesterday. The ceasefire has come, and I was hearing in the news today, both sides declare victory. One side is incredibly stupid. And declaring victory would be an incredibly stupid thing to do. And Israel declares victory because they made them stop. See? Now let's go to some audio because Lunch Bucket Joe, the peace deal was brokered by Egypt, by the nation of Egypt and General President al-Sisi, who, again, was sidelined, was kicked to the curb by the Obama administration because Obama was on the side of the Muslim Brotherhood, and the Muslim Brotherhood was eventually thrown out after President Obama betrayed Hosni Mubarak, longtime U.S. ally, sending a really horrible, historic message. And then he sided with the Muslim Brotherhood, which the current head of Al-Qaeda, the guy with the carbuncle on his head, Dr. Ayman al-Zawahiri, who took over when Osama bin Laden was killed. Ayman al-Zawahiri was a leader of the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood. He's now the head of Al-Qaeda. Obama was on the side of the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt is really the granddaddy of Al-Qaeda and a whole range of other radical Islamic organizations. But Obama was on the wrong side of history. The sweep of history will show. And he was on the wrong side of everything. But it's 11 days into this, and 232 killed on one side, 12 killed on the other side. And the idea that any of these idiots would, in the Gaza, would declare victory just pretty much tells you everything you need to know about these nitwits. And then, here, get a load of this. Again, Egypt brokers the deal. Kamala Harris called King Hussein in Jordan, and then the Biden administration took credit for brokering the ceasefire. It's not true. They didn't. But the headline here, Biden credits own administration for Israel-Hamas ceasefire, downplays Egypt role. No kidding. Biden credits his own administration, and President Biden sought to take credit for a ceasefire Thursday between Israel and Hamas, despite reports that it was Egypt that brokered the peace. Why would that be a problem? See, the news media will go along, yeah, he's real good. They're afraid that he might turn them into ears of corn, send them into the cornfield. Biden, who spoke at the White House, included a sentence in his remarks commending Egyptian officials for their, quote, critical role, end quote, in ending the fighting, but repeatedly emphasized the intensive work he and his administration had engaged in. And now let's go to a couple of cuts of audio here. Let's go to Lunch Bucket Joe, soundbite number 2. He's now. It turns out Hamas. See, I think Hamas is a terrorist organization, and Joe Biden. He's playing a little semantic game here. I think Hamas, their feelings might be hurt. Joe Biden yesterday.
We will do this in full partnership with the Palestinian Authority, not Hamas, Authority, in a manner that does not permit Hamas to simply restock its military arsenal.
Yeah, you're going to stop that how? Because Iran is restocking it, and they build their own rockets there instead of building schools. They build rockets with which to kill Jews and all of that good stuff. And then Joe Biden. Here's Joe Biden. Egypt brokered the deal. Everybody knows it. Here's Joe Biden lying about it.
Over the last 11 days, I spoke with the Prime Minister 6 times. I've also spoken with President Abbas of the Palestinian Authority more than once, and part of our intense diplomatic engagement. And I want to also thank the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, our National Security Advisor, and everyone on our team for their incredible efforts to bring this about, this outcome that we're about to see.
Yeah, they didn't do it. The Egyptians did it, but they're out to take credit for it. And the news media is saying, yeah, you did real good. That's real good. Boy, that's good. And did anybody ask him about the attacks on people in the United States for being Jewish in New York and Los Angeles and Florida? No, nobody did. Congressman Trey Gowdy he was on the television yesterday. He's now a former member of Congress, and he's free to say what he wants. And he kind of does say what he wants. Trey Gowdy was on the television last night talking about the reality of all of this.
Certainly a repudiation of that wing of the party. There's Bernie Sanders, AOC, and others are having a really difficult time telling the terrorists from our allies. This is a repudiation of that wing of the party. I'm glad he talked to Netanyahu. I hope he's also going to send a message to Hamas and to Iran. What's even better than a ceasefire, Shannon, is not to need a ceasefire. So tell them to stop firing rockets into Israel, and then we won't need the ceasefire.
See, that sums it up quite nicely, actually. I got an idea. Why don't you guys get to work and be productive and constructive and live in peace with your neighbors next door who can soundly trounce you every time you punch them in the eye And that's been proved again and again and again and again and again. And you guys are apparently too dumb to learn any lessons. And that's not actually the reality of it. It's not that they're too dumb to learn the lesson. They know what the lesson is. They just want to keep learning it again and again to continue to radicalize the younger generations into becoming fanatics themselves. This is how because if there's peace for a sustained period of time, well, then the kids will grow up in peace, and they'll think, well, we can live next door to the Israelis. We can live next door to the Jews. But as long as you pick a fight with them every now and then, they have to come in and, knock you on the ground and kick your head in, then, you make the next generation angry. And they like the photo ops of the dead kids with the collapsed buildings and the blood and everybody crying and screaming and extending their arms and fingers and the on front page of the New York Times. Those are the photo ops that they look for. And you got to, break a few eggs to make an omelet, as the New York Times and Joseph Stalin used to say. So remarkable stuff, no doubt about it. And I've got also there are attacks on Jewish people in New York, attacks on Jewish people in Los Angeles, attacks on Jewish people in Florida. And I don't think CNN is CNN doing that. I'm still looking. I'm looking through my Washington Post. I'm going to have to look a little closer for the stories on that. People with Palestinian flags, Palestinian headdresses, and Middle Eastern accents hunting Jews in caravans in Los Angeles, New York, and Florida. Doubtless beyond that, too. Don't look for it in your local newspaper, however, because, well, there's a problem. We have a problem in the United States, and the problem, well, you know what it is. You know what feels really great? Paying off your high-interest credit cards, getting a lower interest rate, and saving yourself a whole lot of your hard-earned money. You need to refinance your credit card balances right now and save a whole lot of cash with a credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream. Lightstream offers credit card consolidations loans that start at 5.95% APR with auto pay and your excellent credit. That's a whole lot lower than the average credit card interest rate, which is more than 18% APR. There are no fees for you, and you can even get your money as soon as the day that you apply. Lightstream believes that people like you with good credit deserve a better loan experience, and that's exactly what Lightstream delivers. Now, just for my listeners, you know who they are. That's you. You can apply right now, get a special interest rate discount, and save even more of your hard-earned money. But the only way to get this discount is to go to lightstream.com/plant. That's lightstream.com/PLANTE. Subject to your good credit approval, rates range from 5.95% APR to 19.99% APR and include a 0.5% auto pay discount. Lowest rate requires your excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/plant for more information. Yeah, so the killing has stopped, and that's good. That's a positive thing. The bad guys started it. And Rashida Tlaib, AOC, the rest of that mob, that mafia, that gang of gangsters that the Democrats call the Squad, and the media, they say it with admiration. They're on the side of Hamas, which is a terror group, just by the way. And the Washington Post is excited to announce that after Biden's talk with Rashida Tlaib, Tlaib's viewpoint gains relevance. She's a fanatic, an extremist, a radical, not mainstream at all, a virulent anti-Semite. I don't think they need any more of that in the Democratic Party right now. I think they've got plenty of that. But that's me. We're at 888-630-9625.
You're listening to The Chris Plante Show.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. And I'll bet it can be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowner's or renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
We've also got some Dave Chappelle today, some Chris Rock today, some cancel culture today. There's a ridiculous piece in the Washington Post I read earlier this week. So, Republicans do cancel culture too. You guys canceled Campbell's Soup and the Dixie Chicks. That's literally the argument that they made. That's how lame and how empty these people are, how vapid they are, honestly. Really, conservatives canceled Campbell's Soup. I guess I missed that effort, that moment in history. And the Dixie Chicks, like 18 years ago, going into war, something like that. These people are crazy. Also, I said earlier that Kamala Harris had called King Hussein. I always have that Sting song stuck in my head. It's, of course, King Abdullah, son of King Hussein. You'll always be King Hussein. You know, it's a Sting song from the old days. Yeah, Kamala, not Joe Biden, but Kamala Harris called King Abdullah on behalf of President Biden to support a ceasefire effort. That's it. So other people did it. Egypt did it. Joe Biden went to take credit. And lots of attacks on Jewish people across America because, you know, Democrats is really the one-word reason for all of that. And they support the Hamas people, terrorists, and it has emboldened, I think is the word the media might use, the radicals within our own borders to go after Jewish people. Lots of violent attacks yesterday and the day before. But here you go. Kendall Jenner, you know, Kendall Jenner, the daughter, or is she the son? Or are they the whatever? Kendall Jenner accused of cultural appropriation over a tequila ad. She's in a tequila ad facing accusations of cultural appropriation. 818 tequila. No, really? So we shouldn't drink tequila? That's cultural appropriation. George Clooney's in big trouble.
This is the Chris Plante Show.